Hey, what is going on, guys? In today's video, I want to have a conversation about the state of YapMaps OG post-patch, and also where they can maybe go moving forward, as they very recently announced that YapMaps is still getting updated. So let's kind of have a conversation about what they really need to do to keep YapMaps alive and improve it. Because while I think it's a really fun game, it's still problematic, and there's still issues that definitely need to be fixed. So before we can talk about the state of the game after the patch, it's important to just get some reference point of where it was before the patch. Well, yes, I think it was fun. It was a very problematic game. There were fundamental flaws like not having floor loot, but there were also just humongous bugs. Like, enemies were completely invincible. You would not get a glider out of the battle bus. You would get stuck in the battle bus. You would not get loot out of chests. If that bug triggered, you would not be able to get any more loot for the rest of the game. You could get ejected into outer space spontaneously. There were just a lot of issues with YapMaps that I really think kind of put a drag on the experience. It was still fun, but after the launch, you quickly saw that really only the biggest servers like NA East and EU were playable. Smaller servers like NA Central and NA West, those really weren't playable anymore because there just weren't enough players at this point. Now, the whole point of that patch was to fix a lot of these bugs, and I can say a decent amount was fixed. I have not run into the invincible enemies bug anymore. I have not run into not having a glider. I've always been able to get on the bus. I have not been ejected into outer space anymore. But it's still not perfect. I still have the chest bug fairly often, which is frustrating. You still don't have floor loot in YapMaps OG. And also, the big one, it's not directly their fault, but the LMG is so busted right now. Because Epic screwed up and somehow made it a shotgun with incredible damage per second, incredible range, it's just so busted that it just ruins the weapon meta. Because I think YapMaps OG actually has a really solid weapon meta that's fun with many viable options in different, weapon categories. But the LMG just basically replaces half of those weapons. It's just not very interesting with that. It's fun at first, but you quickly realize that it kind of ruins the meta. So the good news, though, is YapMaps 2 days ago did announce that they are going to continue to bring updates. What they said is they're supposed to bring, on the first update, floor loot and other improvements. They're saying they're going to have new content, items, potentially new seasons, which is very good. And they have Issa working on the development team, which is very good. Issa's done some really cool stuff, and I really hope that, you can get this thing turned around. But let's kind of talk about now what YapMaps really needs to do at this point. The big one here is floor loot getting added, and I think will really help, because it's still a major part of the game that's missing, and having floor loot would be great. But something I would say they need to do that you may not agree with me on is I think they should just vault the LMG. I assume that's possible because they have the historical loot pool, that they can just vault the LMG until Epic gets their act together. Because the LMG is just completely breaking the game in terms of meta. If they vault it, it'll just really help stabilize the situation where the shotguns will actually be viable again. I think that's just overall what needs to be done, is that they should just get rid of the LMG in its current state. I'd also say, yes, bug fixes obviously are very important, but it gives me hope with YapMaps, because while OG projects, I really enjoy OG projects. They're a lot of fun. I'd also just say that, as fun as they are, I think YapMaps has its place, because OG projects aren't available on every platform. That situation is a lot more dynamic. We've seen those projects, come up, close down randomly. Delays happen. You never know, right? So having YapMaps as an option, I think, is really good to have. But I definitely think some work needs to be done to make YapMaps really a great experience. Because while it's better than it was before with this patch, I don't think we're quite there yet. But I'm hopeful that we can reach that point. And with that, I hope this video was interesting, and I'll catch you in the next one.